Hello and welcome to Real on this historic week here, as our own Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rozanski will now be leading the Archdiocese of St. Louis, Missouri, following his appointment earlier this week to the post by Pope Francis. Bishop Rozanski was named as the 10th Archbishop of St. Louis after the Pope accepted the resignation of Archbishop Robert Carlson, who turned 75 last June 30th, and as required by church law, submitted his resignation. For Bishop Rozanski, who is 61, this appointment will move the Baltimore native from one of the smaller dioceses in the United States to one of the larger archdioceses, with more than 500,000 Catholics worshiping in 179 parishes. Carolee McGrath has more.
Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rozanski received a warm welcome as he processed into the Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis after being named the 10th Archbishop of St. Louis, Missouri. Archbishop Robert Carlson, who turned 75, submitted his resignation to Pope Francis as required by church law.
I want to share with you that you are receiving from the Holy Father a true man of God. Pope Francis is appointing someone who knows the joy of the gospel. He has a zeal for evangelization and is known throughout the Northeast from Baltimore until Boston for his work with peoples of all colors, all creeds.
Bishop Rozanski was installed as the 9th Bishop of Springfield in 2014. He left his hometown of Baltimore, where he was ordained a priest, in 1984. He served as the auxiliary bishop in the Archdiocese of Baltimore before coming to Springfield.
And I must admit that I was literally speechless when he told me of the Holy Father's appointment for St. Louis. I did feel a rush of emotions, especially one of sorrow, in knowing that I would have to leave Springfield. But 6 years ago, at the Holy Father's appointment, I left Baltimore, my hometown, to come here. This church quickly became my home, and I am deeply grateful to the people of the Diocese of Springfield for their commitment to living out the gospel and to working with me over these past 6 years.
In the Diocese of Springfield, Bishop Rozanski oversaw the merger of Cathedral High School and Holyoke Catholic, which is now Pope Francis Preparatory Academy. Through the years, he attended the March for Life with the youth of the diocese. Every Good Friday, he led a pro-life prayer vigil at Planned Parenthood. He was a speaker at the annual Faith on Fire prayer events, and he also focused on the Latino ministry.
I say it's surprising, but it really wasn't for those of us who worked with Bishop Mitch over these past almost 6 years. He has displayed an Episcopal style that is inclusive, pastoral, gospel-based, and certainly one that enriches the people of God here in Western Massachusetts. So it wasn't surprising, but it was, for many, especially his staff, a sad day, although we are very proud of him.
I think the most important thing that I've learned is that he just cares deeply about every single person in his care. And he described himself yesterday during his introduction in St. Louis as a parish priest, and he really is never happier than when he's in a parish and working with young people and old people and anybody. You know, he's really a very pastoral man.
These have no doubt been difficult times with both COVID-19 and the sadness and anger and racial tensions that followed the killing of George Floyd. But Bishop Rozanski has this message for the youth who might be discouraged. Last week, he and other religious leaders stood shoulder to shoulder at an interfaith prayer vigil for racial healing.
Jesus is present with that gospel message that never changes. And as Pope John Paul II did echo many times, whenever Jesus appeared to his disciples after his resurrection, the words, "Be not afraid." For young people, times are tough and times can be discouraging. But these times are transcended by the Lord Jesus, who helps us to see that the future can be better by what each one of us do.
The bishop will continue to oversee the affairs of the diocese until his installation at the end of August. Reporting for Real to Real, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And joining me now is Archbishop-elect Rozanski. Hello, and congratulations on your appointment.
Thank you, Sharon, and it's good to be with you here today.
Well, I know I can speak for everyone here in the diocese that this news comes as both happy and sad, as we are so thrilled for you that you've been appointed an Archbishop, which is a great honor, but also sad to see you leave us here in the Springfield Diocese where you have done so much good. What was your reaction to this appointment?
Literally, when Archbishop Christophe Pierre, our papal nuncio, called me and told me of the Holy Father's appointment as Archbishop of St. Louis, I was speechless. I couldn't even respond. I was so stunned by that news. So it took me a moment or two to gather myself together to tell Archbishop Pierre that I would accept the Holy Father's appointment and was grateful to him. But I knew immediately that that meant leaving home, leaving here, the Diocese of Springfield. So many mixed emotions with that one sentence that the papal nuncio had told me.
Now, you have been here for 6 years, and originally you're from Baltimore. I can imagine that this move will be a whole new beginning for you as well as you head out to the Midwest. What are your thoughts on making this move from the East Coast to a much larger archdiocese?
Well, when Archbishop Pierre told me that I would be moving to St. Louis, I knew that there would be a large learning curve. So I'm looking forward to learning about the Archdiocese of St. Louis, as I did when I came here to the Diocese of Springfield, in being able to get out amongst the parishes and the various institutions. It might take me a little longer there than it did here in Springfield, but I do hope to continue in that way of being out amongst the parishes, the people, the priests and the deacons and women and men religious of the Archdiocese of St. Louis.
And I think everyone will be wondering, not that we want to replace you by any means, but when can we expect to hear who will be appointed Bishop of Springfield?
Sharon, there's a process that we go through whenever there's a vacancy in a diocese. It's a process that if a bishop is approaching 75 and we know that his retirement is coming, we begin that process. Certainly for us with this surprise announcement, we will start from scratch. But the nuncio has asked me to write up a report to send to him what I feel that the issues are that the next Bishop of Springfield will face. He will also have different inquiries amongst other bishops, and then he will put together what is called a terna, T-E-R-N-A. And that terna will be sent to the Congregation of Bishops. They will make that choice, give their recommendation to the Holy Father, and then the Holy Father either approves or puts another name on that recommendation, and that news is given to the nuncio to alert the either priest or bishop that he has been assigned to a diocese.
All right, Archbishop-elect Mitchell Rozanski, thank you so much. And I know you will be here as Apostolic Administrator until August 25th when you're installed in St. Louis, so we won't say goodbye just yet.
That's right, Sharon, and it will be a privilege to continue to serve over these next 2 months.
Well, thanks again, Bishop.